Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and welcome to another serious YouTube video. I know I make plenty of these. I know that YouTube suffers a lot of mental breakdowns here and there, and unfortunately it's things that we have to discuss because it really does affect a whole lot of us today. Now, the video over here is not inappropriately titled. This is actually a massive issue that YouTube faces that could put itself into complete jeopardy. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because if you've been catching up on the news, if you've been getting right into the news, you've obviously known that $750 million have basically been assessed as YouTube has lost in terms of advertiser revenue to its site because of a massive boycott that's been occurring. Now, if you look back to how this boycott occurs, it all ties in back to that original Nazi video that PewDiePie had done that the Wall Street Journal had gotten really pissed off about. And unfortunately now it seems like a lot of beta cucks on that site have really been snitching around and getting a lot of advertisers to be spooked of YouTube and unfortunately take away the revenue, which is directly affecting the site itself and a lot of content creators that make their sole living off of this website. Now, whatever anybody wants to say about living off of this kind of stuff is not really the argument today, okay? Like I said, any job is really volatile today. Anything can really break down on you at a moment's notice. So you got to be prepared for it, and you got to understand the realities of the situation today. But this situation is really messed up for this site entirely. Now, YouTube has never really listened to content creators entirely. You can have the biggest content creator on this website or millions of small voices, and YouTube just doesn't care. The site is run by fucking robots, all right? I don't think that there is a human face behind it, to be honest. You maybe occasionally see it, but for the most part, I think a robot runs this site. Now, to have $750 million lost is the biggest wake-up call to this website. So far up until now, and still today, YouTube is a uncompeted rival in terms of user-generated videos that are syndicated worldwide. I don't think there's anybody else like YouTube that is out on the market, and to be honest, I don't think there is going to be anybody like YouTube out on the market until what happened recently. Now, losing $750 million might not be a lot to Google themselves, but it is a lot to YouTube, since YouTube, to an extent, is a site that does hemorrhage money because it just doesn't manage it very well, and it still deals with some infancy in how it portrays and syndicates online content, and it deals with a lot of risks. There was a whole Viacom lawsuit that they were still dealing with that just only recently got settled, amongst many other things. Now, the thing that happened basically is that a lot of these companies internationally too, it's not just the US, have basically rescinded their advertising money from YouTube entirely. And this, again, does affect the site completely. It's not a joke when it comes to it. A lot of content creators have actually mentioned that they have seen a massive dip in their overall revenue, and while it may not affect you personally, it does affect you, the viewer, because if you've ever noticed how YouTube videos work, typically towards the beginning of the year, you notice that it's kind of dead in terms of content, and at the end of the year, there's a massive influx of nice, amazing videos that a lot of content creators release almost in unison. There's a reason for that. It's because in the beginning of the year, advertising revenue dries up. Towards the end of the year, it comes back. And that's when content creators find it a prime time to release it. I don't give a shit, but that's because my situation is a little bit different. Now, if this trend continues, a lot of the content creators who do pour their hearts and souls into their channels may eventually have to look for other revenue sources. They may have to look for more sponsorships, more routes to sort of compensate for what YouTube has basically done to its channel. Now, again, there's many reasons for why this is occurring. A lot of it, again, has to do with the whole Wall Street Journal sort of snitching around to many companies, but it also has to do with the fact that YouTube themselves doesn't really know how to police their own fucking website. How do I mean that? Well, basically, remember when we talked about those Frozen Spider-Man cringe videos? Well, just recently, a lot of news websites have basically covered the fact that YouTube is peddling this kind of stuff without them really looking into it. And that is true to an extent. YouTube doesn't really care about that. Those kind of videos get massive amount of views. They get shown to a lot of people, and YouTube doesn't seem to do anything except take that chunk of ad revenue for them and sort of ignore the blatant issue. Now, the reason that is also a big deal is because recently I was talking to a family friend, a mom, who, was telling me about the kind of stuff that their kid was watching on YouTube. And I said, let's watch it together, because I don't think what you're looking at is necessarily what you're putting up as a fantasy in your head. She watched one of these Spider-Man Frozen cringe videos that their kids did and was kind of aggravated at the fact that one of the ads that played before, I don't exactly remember, she believed that company was actually sponsoring crap like that. To which I had to correct her, saying, no, that's not how it works. But see, therein lies the problem. Me and you are very niche people. We're not the majority of people out there. I think anybody who regularly watches YouTube is in the minority. And what I mean by that is the majority of people still get their news and information from various other segments, TV, news websites. YouTube is a chunk of it, yes, but it's not the sole proprietor of where they get all their information from. So when they start making assumptions like that, we're talking about the very bare level of somebody's assumptions on the site itself. If people start thinking like that, advertisers can't really do anything but take away their chunks of money from this website, because at the end of the day, when the majority of the people think like that and have that sort of a mentality, which we know is wrong, but a lot of people don't know it's wrong, and we can blame them for it. Not everyone has intimate knowledge of YouTube and, how brands here work. They just look at the brass tacks of the situation. So when you have many of these people making these assumptions, you can't blame a lot of these companies for taking their money away. It's not like they're being misled. They have to protect what their brand is. They can't just do it at the sole sake of web content here on the internet. There's many other places where they could advertise, and it's proven, all right? They can take their money, they can put it into another revenue source, and they can make money out of it. They got to worry about themselves, and they got to be focused on what makes their brand effective. And to an extent, I have to defend them on it. Lately, we've seen a lot of weird, absurd shit on this website. For example, that retard prank invasion made the whole fucking kissing prank Muslim edition. And, fair enough, if you like his content, you don't like his content, that's all up to you. But the point is, that video earned about 170,000 something dislikes with, I think, 17,000 likes. Basically, piss poor dislike ratio. Anybody who watches a video and anybody who watches a video basically and breeds and knows how to change their clothing knows that it's all fake. But a grand majority of people don't. They get pissed, they get triggered for dumb reasons, of course. But at the end of the day, no brand wants to attach their content or their product to something that triggers so many people, or something that's such a blatant lie that it's offensive to anybody who has any form of intelligence. Same thing with these Spider-Man Elsa Frozen cringe videos. Same thing with a lot of other videos. And then when you have these news companies making these articles, which are obviously bullshit, they're obviously biased to themselves and their media type, companies can't really make a decision. They don't have anything, they don't have any say. And the biggest problem here is not directly me, you, the content creators, anybody, not even Wall Street Journal. It's YouTube themselves. This is a company that is basically, before my dad jizzed into my fucking mom, these people have basically been designing artificial intelligences and spiders, all right, to scour the web and do whatever the hell they could. You're telling me, YouTube, that you can't design a better system to properly police your shit? Okay, you can't stop the Frozen Spider-Man Elsa cringe? I find that to be grossly absurd. YouTube can definitely do it, but you know why they don't do it? You want to know exactly why they don't do it? Because they're profiting off of this shit to an extent. And that's where I have to wonder, YouTube, if you better police your stuff, you can be making the money that Netflix and all these other companies are doing. In fact, you are now. YouTube Red can be successful if you choose to properly build your shit up. This is why Netflix and Hulu and Amazon succeed, because they're building good content. You guys aren't even putting effort into anything. You're just sitting over there basically reaping the rewards, I guess if you want to call them, without looking at the bigger picture yourselves. Your site can be a lot bigger than you want it to be, but you have to put actual effort into it. Please start policing stuff. And you know what? They will, because $750 million, almost $1 billion are on the line. Of course they're going to start listening to shit now. Money talks, money makes the decisions. It doesn't matter what me and you say. I'm actually glad this kind of stuff happened, because it's not like the advertisers are gone completely. YouTube knows that if $750 million are lost and somebody else makes a website like YouTube, and those $750 million go to that site, content creators are going to shift over there. More money is going to be made on that. YouTube fucking bellies up overnight. YouTube can't afford this. All right? They can't. They're one of the biggest video platforms ever. Even if it's hemorrhaging money, this is Google's baby, all right? This is one of Google's most successful platforms to share their own beliefs on, to share their products on. This is what they have. You bet your ass, overnight right now, they're planning to fucking fix their content shit. And whether you think the monetization issues will be wrong, what I hope YouTube does is contact the creators. Build a filter in your bot that says if people have certain amounts of subs or views or whatever metric, email them and tell them what the new advertising policy is going to be so we can better build the content towards it. I think if you're making websites for, videos for a living on places like this, then you have to sort of bite the bullet and build your content a certain way. There's no such thing as freedom of speech when it comes to making money on the internet like this. You have to bite the bullet and abide by certain rules and laws and norms in order to even succeed on this. If you don't care about that, then by all say what you mean. That's not changing anytime soon. You can still broadcast yourself. But YouTube, you need to start contacting your top creators, or at least creators that are actively producing content. Tell them how they should be making it, because at the end of the day, it benefits everyone. It benefits the advertisers because their advertising is successful. It benefits the content creators because they get more stability and revenue, and it benefits you because you guys benefit off of everyone anyways. If you start looking at the smaller side of things, as a smaller picture, then you're never going to succeed, and Netflix and Hulu and Amazon will always be higher than you to an extent in the fields that there are, right? Original programming, and all that kind of stuff. But, and this is a big but, if you change it, then you'll get the advertisers back. It's not like they'll go anywhere. If they get the whole message that their IPs are protected, they're not going to be shown on Elsa Frozen Spider-Man cringe shit, or some terrorist videos, or some racist videos, like they shouldn't be, then they'll come back. They'll dump their money back into AdSense, and boom, everyone will be happy. But that requires YouTube actually having a brain cell and doing the right fucking thing. Do I think they're going to do it? I don't know. I honestly don't know if this company is going to do it, but I've really said my piece. You know, will I cover this more? Of course I will. It's one of the things that affects us all, because it's not just, you know, any kind of content creator, any, you know, risque kind of content creator. It's almost anybody that's making videos on this website. If you find YouTube to be worth your time and you like the content here more than you like TV, then this kind of topic should interest you. And it should interest you, YouTube, because you have some talented people on the site. It's best not to lose them, and it's best not to lose what you have. So please fix your shit up, all right? Not just for me or anybody else, but at the very least for you. You know what I mean? Do what you want at the end of the day. I want to see what everyone else's responses to this are, what you all think about it. This is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like if you dislike it. I am out.